Hi, Matthew. Could you please introduce yourself and the school, including the demographics of the school?
Okay, I'm Matt Goodwin, assistant head teacher and careers leader with responsibility for maths also of Blythebridge High School and sixth form in Stoke-on-Trent. We are a secondary school. We are 11 to 18, and our school values all build around pride, respect, kindness. We are in our second year of the accelerated programme, Skills Builder Plus.
Thank you. What would you recommend as a starting point for a skills builder approach in a secondary school? What were the first steps that you took?
Well, before we joined the accelerator program, I'd already accessed the essential skills and started to display them around our school, in our classrooms, and started to encourage use of those. When I joined the Skills Builder Accelerator program, it then really helped and supported in how we can maximize the use of the essential skills within our curriculum, within our school environment, with students, teachers, parents, and all stakeholders.
Thank you. How do you track the progress of pupils on a whole school basis? What tools do you use in your school? And what are the advantages or drawbacks of these tools?
We we use a number of ways of tracking the progress of the essential skills, depending on the group of students we are working with. So one example is for a whole school citizenship lesson, which is a lesson we have on our curriculum once a week, which looks at social relationships, careers, politics, and the wider world. So once a week, our teachers track the progress of their groups against the essential skills, and that happens on a weekly basis. Our curriculum leader for that area has gone through the curriculum plan and highlighted each half term which is the spotlight essential skill. So every half term, they are focusing on one of the essential skills. But that does not say that they don't look at the others. It's just one is the main focus. And we make sure by the end of year 11, they've covered all skills through that curriculum. Another way is we focus on small focus groups. So we have a special educational needs group that focuses on careers workshops throughout the year. So they use the skills as a lot of self-reflection, and they are tracked against the skills to show their progress throughout the work of doing that workshop. And somewhere else I've built the essential skills into is our work-related learning programs, which we use in year 10 and we use in year 12, which underpins how students going into the workplace and having those experience, how they can reflect of how those skills are used, what their strengths are, and which ones they need to develop further. And one thing we're looking to launch this year is our student careers diaries, where they track all their career engagements, activities in school, outside of school, in their home life, anything that can be related to any of the skills. So in the moment, I'm working with our computer department to design a form that students can interact with, and they can highlight which skills are used with which activity they take part in school.
Thank you. Leading on from that then, how do secondary school teachers in your school share information about the progress of individual students or classes with one another and back with the students themselves?
Well, through the citizenship lesson that I've just discussed, our curriculum leader regularly shares the progress of all those groups and ensures that work is maintained. But one of the highlights which we've been working on the last 6 months that we again did through the accelerated program scheme last year was introduce awards. So we have skills builder awards, and any member of staff in school, whether they are a teacher, support staff, site staff, lunchtime supervisor, can nominate a student for an essential skill award. So for example, we run a games club after school, and we have a student who has took full leadership of this club. He independently leads the students every week in the games, and he was nominated for a award in leadership because of what he does there. We have had students be nominated for awards for being positive when they've had difficult times at home, but they've still come into school and they've worked hard. And a lot of our success and work with essential skills is put on our social media posts through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, to celebrate how the skills are being used in our school.
Thank you. How do secondary school teachers at your school share information about all things Skills Builder among themselves as staff?
One example, again, would be the social media posts that we put out. So lots of departments can see where essential skills are being used and how they're being used in school, and parents can see those being used. But being a senior leader and part of the team, it's easy for me to make sure that we have training time put aside for staff. So I get the Skills Builder staff together for within their departments, and they can share practice, look at examples of how things are being done, and ensure that that's working across the school.
Helpful, thank you. How do secondary school teachers at your school share information about Skills Builder with parents? What in your experience has worked well? What was kind of the most efficient way of doing this, and why?
Parent engagement is something as a school that's part of our improvement, and within careers particularly this year, it's part of my improvement plan for careers. We do it in a number of ways, and some parents engage with some aspects in a certain way and other aspects in another way. So one example is that we use the email system. So we regularly email parents of events, and with those events, we attach the skills to them. A second is a careers newsletter, which I am in my second year of running. Every term, we have a careers newsletter. Whole school identifies all the activities that students have been involved in, and we have essential skill icons running through the whole of those activities, so parents can see where we've had teamwork going on, where we've had positivity, where there's been creative use of the skills. And those newsletters then are emailed out to parents and also shared through our school website. One thing I am working on this year is an information sheet that will go out to parents through email, and basically show them how we're using the skills in school, and how they can encourage the identifying of skills outside of school with their child.
Thank you for sharing. Could you give us some examples of how teachers of different subjects cooperate across the subject areas? What would you recommend for starters?
Okay, just over 2 years ago now, I took part in a whole school project as part of a personal development for myself. The main objective of that was to improve careers profile across the school and in curriculum. So to tackle the curriculum area, I created Careers Champions. So I started off with English, Maths and Science. So one member of each of those departments nominate themselves as Careers Champion for that department to ensure the best way of them introducing careers into their curriculum in a natural way that would be consistent and beneficial for students. We use the essential skills within that to underpin how that is done. From where I started 2 years ago, 12 months down the line, I got to the point where half the departments then were on board with having Careers Champions. And because they'd seen modelling of the careers curriculum within department, and now to this point have every department in school with a Careers Champion. They share good practice, they show how they use the skills within their curriculum areas. One thing they have done is took the curriculum plans that we have for all our areas, and they have put all the essential skills mapped into their curriculum plans. So therefore, again, it creates that consistent use across the school without teachers feeling they have to come up with careers lessons or skills builder lessons. It's actually part of everything we do all the time. And through the skills builder, I set up training with my skills builder lead, and they came into school, and with the Careers Champions, they did a training session to show again how they can best get the use out of those essential skills.
That's wonderful, thank you. Our final question for today then is, could you please share some of the successes that you've had with Skills Builder, or as a result of developing students' essential skills?
I've already mentioned the focus groups that we sometimes have and we have a special educational needs focus group. And that was started over 2 years ago, and we're in our 3rd year of running that now. It's a small group of students who go through a series of workshops. The essential skills almost map those workshops and introduce the self-reflection and the progress of identifying strengths and weaknesses and where that's going to help them with their future choices. I had a particular lad who was in the first running of this program, and he was a very quiet lad. He found it very difficult in social situations. He did not find it easy to talk in front of people, and most of the time chose not to. And he found it very difficult around people he didn't know. So he would get on with his work, but he wouldn't really say much. He was part of this group, and he did all the workshops. And at the end of this, the program, I arranged a university trip to our local university, where they put on a workshop using the essential skills and looking at how the skills look in a university scenario. They were set a task with Lego, which young people always love tasks with Lego. And they had to build their own university of what they thought their university would look like. And I observed all the students, and this particular young man was putting his Lego together, built a lovely structure. And at the end of the session, which I had not prepared for, the person leading the session then wanted the students to talk about what they built and give reasons why they built certain structures and what that meant for them. I hadn't prepared the person leading the session on some of the students' particular needs of being able to talk or not to talk. And the first person she chose was this young man to, in front of everybody, explain what he had done. And that was a nervous moment for me as a teacher, thinking, oh, I should have pre-warned this person leading the session. I didn't need to worry. He actually went in full flow, talking about his Lego model, explaining what he had built. It really, I mean, just talking about it now, it makes me very proud of that moment every time I talk about it. And that young man then went on to finding a work experience placement, doing a full week in a work experience placement in an environment that was unfamiliar to him. He did his exams last year, and he is now working in a primary school on an apprenticeship, working with young people using those skills every day. It gets me a bit emotional just talking about it again now. And he has done wonderful. And it was down to that program that started to help him to know what he was good at, where he can get his confidence from. And again, the skills were fed through that whole program. And he is the one success story I can think of, and I think of every time because of how well he's doing, and the evidence of how the skills can benefit those young people.
Yeah, amazing story. Thank you for sharing that impact. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of your answers today, Matthew. Yeah, really appreciate it.